Well, it's interesting. Competition is desperately needed in the banking sector. Competition is always a good thing, far better than regulation. But Vince Cable, business secretary in the coalition government at the moment, has been banging on about the need to increase competition in banking for years, and yet he hasn't actually managed to do it. It's a lot easier to talk about than to actually achieve.
Why?
Well, essentially because we already have a competition authority that is supposed to limit the size that businesses can become.
And we have 5 big banks. I mean, that's quite a lot, isn't it? We've got 5 big supermarkets. There's lots of competition there. 5 big telecom companies.
Well, what's interesting, of course, please remember that Ed Miliband was part of the previous Labour government that allowed a massive bank takeover to occur, which was Lloyds Bank buying HBOS. And that, in fact, broke all the competition rules and yet was waved through. Mr. Miliband, conveniently forgets that on his speech today.
So he thinks if you reduce the market cap of a bank, i.e. not let them have as much share as they have now, it'll help the economy because it'll help small businesses and customers. Why?
Well, because more competition generally brings down prices. I think this is more political posturing than actual reality. I mean, because we don't know what his plans are. What he says is when he gets in on day one, he will hand power to the competition authority to come up with a plan to introduce 2 new challenger banks within 6 months. So the competition authority will then go away and try to achieve it. If you look at the stock price reaction, Royal Bank of Scotland was down 4% today, the 4th biggest loser in the FTSE.
And the problem with that is that we own it. That's a taxpayer's bank, so that's not very good for us, is it?
Precisely. And Lloyds Bank was down about 0.7%, again, one of the biggest traded stocks in the FTSE. So he may talk being tough on banks, but that decreases what us as taxpayers owe.
OK, so if you were in charge, and maybe one day you will be, what would you do?
If I was going to be really, really brave, I would sell off, the government stake in Royal Bank of Scotland and Lloyds. Then a couple of years after that, I would split each bank in half. So you had 10 banks, not 5. I would do a Thatcher, what she did to the generating companies, the power generating companies, when she created 2 all those years ago. If they want to be brave, do that to create proper competition in the UK banking industry.
OK.